Welcome to Sightseeing Japan, the podcast where we explore the land of mountain views. I'm Paul Bresson.
And I'm Jason Nealing. Hey, Paul Chan.
Yes, Jason Chan?
Pretty excited about our trip.
Yeah. Once we bought those tickets, I got real excited.
Got a good deal on those tickets, too.
Yeah, that's extra sweet.
As you might have heard on our recent announcement episode, we're going to Hokkaido in February 2026, and we're also very excited to announce our third podcast meetup, which is going to happen in Sapporo.
Yeah, something a little different for us, doing one outside of Tokyo.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited, but I feel like Sapporo is going to be the place to be that week because of the Winter Festival.
I would think that a whole lot of international tourists in Japan are going to be attending that Sapporo Snow Festival, so it seemed like a good place to do it. And I'm really excited about our theme. You know, the last few trips, we've tried to have like a theme. Like in 2023, we followed the cherry blossoms north. And last time we spent a lot of time in the mountains in the middle of Honshu, the Japanese Alps, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to have the theme of winter festivals this time. We're going to visit as many winter festivals as possible. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to hit quite a few.
Totally.
So mark your calendars, Saturday, February 7th. 2026 in Sapporo. We're tentatively thinking 6 p.m. at the Barefoot Bar, but we're still kind of looking at places, seeing if we can find something that will be big enough on a busy Saturday night that we won't disrupt the place.
Yeah. I think we're more tentative on Barefoot Bar than we are on 6 p.m. In case you're like planning, I think 6 p.m. is pretty much set. We might find a different venue. But so if you're planning a trip to Japan in February, keep us in mind. It'd be really great to see it come out.
Yeah, they're always fun.
I'm also very excited about this episode, Paul, because we didn't even plan this, but the place that we're talking about in this episode is a place that we're going to be visiting on our trip. When we decided on this topic, we didn't even know that we were going to be going to Hokkaido.
I mean, we were already doing research for this episode by the time we decided we were going to Hokkaido.
Right.
So that worked out quite well.
It did. Do you want to spoil the topic, Paul?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the city of Hakodate today. It's the third largest city in Hokkaido with about 239,000 population. And it's the southernmost city in Hokkaido. There are towns and villages I found that are further south because I was like, really? But I looked and they're not cities.
Okay. I saw that the population actually got up to 320,000 in 1980, but it's been declining ever since.
Yeah, there were a number of more further out of the way cities that kind of peaked around the 80s or 90s, it seemed, and have been slipping back down in population size.
Mm-hmm. Did you, I wanted to mention what are the two other larger cities in Hokkaido, if anyone's curious. Do you know what they are?
Yeah, number 2, I believe, is Asahikawa,
which we're also going to be visiting for a snow festival.
And number 1 is obviously Sapporo.
With the big snow festival.
Yep.
Did we even mention what Hokkaido is for people that might not be aware?
We did not.
It's that huge island, the furthest north main island of Japan. It's called Hokkaido. And there's a sub-prefecture, actually, at the southern tip of that island called Oshima. That's where Hakodate is, and Hakodate is the capital of that sub-prefecture. Didn't even realize that there were sub-prefectures up there, but it kind of makes sense looking at just how big Hokkaido is.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think Hokkaido is the biggest geographic prefecture.
Yeah, the whole island is a prefecture, which is kind of unusual.
Yeah.
Well, it's unique. It's the only one like that, really.
One unique thing about Hakodate is that the city center lies on a peninsula, and at the end of the peninsula is a mountain.
Mount Hakodate?
Yeah. So that's where I was talking about great views in the intro. It's very well known to climb up the mountain, and you can look back over the city on the peninsula, and then it kind of grows past the peninsula up into the mainland as well.
I think they call that one of the top 3 night views in Japan.
Yes.
Just from the top of that mountain looking back over the city.
Yeah.
I also was interested to learn that little peninsula that the mountain is sitting on, it used to be an island formed by volcanic eruptions millions of years ago, and then a sandbar eventually formed, and that's where that city center is now. It's on a sandbar, basically. but a really big sandbar. It's not sand anymore. You're not going to be walking around on sand in the city.
No.
Another thing I wanted to mention in the intro here is Goryokaku, because that's going to come up in the history section, and it's probably Hakodate's most famous site. Definitely its most famous historical site, at least. It's a star-shaped fort. It played a really big part at the end of the Boshin War, and it looks really cool, especially from above. Like looking down on it, it's a perfect 5-point star. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any notes about the climate in Hakodate, Paul?
It gets cold in winter.
It's true. I mean, you could say that about all of Hokkaido, really.
Yep.
I actually was interested to see that Hakodate's climate is very similar to where we are in Minnesota. It's cold and snowy in winter. It gets warm and humid in summer. It has 4 distinct seasons.
Yeah, it'll feel like home.
Yeah. If you wanted to find some difference between there and here, it doesn't generally get as hot in the summer there as it does here. The average temperature in the warmest month is 22.1 Celsius, which is 71.8 Fahrenheit. And the temperatures don't fluctuate as wildly as they do here a lot of the time. So it kind of sounds even like better weather than Minnesota. I think I would prefer that. We're kind of known for having those days with like 100-degree swings.
Yeah. The weather out here, 100 degrees in summer to negative 20 in winter is pretty brutal.
Remember that winter not long ago? It was like negative 64 or something like that?
Something like that.
All right, Paul Chan. History?
Let's do it.
What do you want to start with?
Where it always starts.
The indigenous peoples?
Yeah, the area of Hakodate has been populated for a long, long time by indigenous Ainu people. One of the differences here, though, versus a lot of other places in Japan, is that the switch to a more normal Japanese population happened much, much later, like in the last 300-400 years. So there's still more remnants of the old culture around.
That's true. Hokkaido was the
final frontier for Japan.
Yeah, the latest area to be kind of populated by the Japanese. Although the Japanese did try for centuries. They tried again and again to keep pushing north from Honshu into Ainu territory. Like, I was kind of surprised at how far back that went. And by the way, I think the Ainu deserve their own episode at some point. I think each indigenous people on either end of the country, we should do episodes about them.
Sure.
But what I saw is that it sounds like early on it was mostly merchants who would set up bases further and further north because they wanted to trade with the Ainu. They wanted to get rich. And one of those merchant families founded Hakodate in 1454. That's so long ago, Paul. That's before Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
Yeah.
Before that, Hakodate was just a fishing village. But as I said, like that northward expansion of the Japanese didn't go very well most of the time. There were a bunch of rebellions. Did you see the Ainu rebellion in 1512, Paul?
Yeah.
And there was an uprising from 1669 to 1672 known as Shakushine's Revolt. That must be like a Ainu language thing. That doesn't look like Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like for a long time, Hakodate couldn't really grow beyond just being like a trading outpost.
Yeah, the town didn't really start growing until the early 1700s. Some temples started popping up around that time. And then in 1741, the Motomachi clan was granted the area as a march fief, which I had to look up, which just means a fief outside of your main core territory. So basically, they got to rule that area as well. They were a little bit west of there in Hokkaido.
Okay.
And they ended up setting up a local, like, regional government office in the city, and that helped grow the city as well.
Cool. In 1779, the Tokugawa shogunate took direct control of Hakodate by sending government officials to oversee things, and that's when Hakodate really started to flourish. But the credit for this flourishing doesn't really go to the shogunate quite as much as it does to a guy named Takadaya Kahei. Did you read about him, Paul?
I saw his name come up. I didn't read too much about his life or anything.
Oh, man, I got so much about him. He was a really interesting guy. Do you mind if I just go off for a second?
Please do.
All right, so Takadaya Kahe. He was a merchant who bought a ship and went to Hakodate in 1796, where he set up shop and made a whole lot of money by importing things like rice, salt, sake, and then he would export fish and seaweed back to Honshu. So he had a really nice setup going on. You know, he was bringing in all this stuff, sending out all this stuff, making money both directions. And then his business, it just kept growing, and he started developing more and more trade routes to neighboring areas. He set up his own fisheries even, and he used his money and influence to help develop the city of Hakodate. Like he was a major player in turning this into a big city. Really famous there. He's credited as the founder of Hakodate Port, even.
Yeah. It sounds like he showed up when it was a village and left it a thriving city.
Totally. So I expect when we start walking around and looking at the local museums and stuff, we're going to see a lot of mentions of him. But even outside of that, he had a really interesting life. He was eventually involved in foreign relations with Russia.
Wow.
Yeah. He was even captured and imprisoned in Russia for months, during which he learned the Russian language. And then when he was released from prison, he became a key player in settling territorial disputes in the Kuril Islands.
A true merchant. He gets thrown in prison and he's like, oh, this is my chance to learn Russian and open up a whole new market for myself when I get out of here.
Totally. I feel like you could make a movie about this guy. Easy.
Yeah.
What an interesting life. And these days, there's actually still a festival held every year in late July to commemorate him. Isn't that cool?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so he was doing that right around the turn of the... Paul, when you say turn of the whatever century, you're talking about like when things turned into that century, right?
Yes.
So he was operating at the end of the 1700s, beginning of the 1800s, so we would call that the turn of the 19th century, right?
Yeah.
Man, centuries get confusing sometimes, I feel like. But, okay, so at the turn of the 19th century was when he was doing that stuff. And then in the mid-19th century, 1855, Hakodate's port was the first in Japan to open up to foreign trade after the Convention of Kanagawa was signed the previous year under threats from the American Commodore Matthew Perry of Friends fame. That joke never gets old to me, sorry. But yeah, so this is right the end of that isolationist period in Japan. This is like Japan's opening up to the world. Hakodate was one of the first places where that happened.
Yeah, and you can still see the influence of that in the city today, but we'll get to that a little later.
So after the port opened up, foreign influence poured into Hakodate from all over the place, not just from America. They kind of started the whole thing, but also from Great Britain and Russia. Merchants and information and all this stuff is flowing into the city. And that contributed to when the Tokugawa shogunate started to stumble. Their reputation took a big blow when they were forced to bend to America's will, and people started organizing to overthrow the shogunate and reinstate an imperial government, because they just felt like the shogunate wasn't modernizing fast enough, right? That was a big motivation behind it. So anyway, all of this eventually culminated in what's called the Boshin War, basically the last Japanese Civil War.
As you mentioned earlier, Hakodate played a huge part in the Boshin War because the shogunate rebel forces ended up fleeing to Hakodate with the remnants of their navy and army in 1868.
1868 to 1869 was the Battle of Hakodate. It was a long one.
Yeah, so they were up there for a while. They actually formally declared themselves the Republic of Ezo.
Ezo means Hokkaido, basically.
So there were kind of two rival governments still going on there for a while.
And that battle is also known as Goryokaku no Tatakai, the Battle of Goryokaku, that five-pointed, the star-shaped fort thing.
Yeah. There's also a large naval battle in the waters of Hakodate that the imperial forces won. And eventually the rebels were defeated. And that was the end of the war.
I was surprised to see, like, I'd never read too much into that. I don't know. I feel like we could also do a whole episode on the whole Meiji Restoration. Like, there's just so much that happened there, right? But
yes.
I was surprised to see that some of the leaders of that final rebellion still actually had very successful political careers in the new government. they were just thrown in prison for a while. And they're like, okay, you guys, come on. You can come back. Help us out here.
Yeah, just let everything calm down for a couple of years, and then all right, you're good.
Yeah.
It's an interesting way to not lose talent. And
yeah, I mean, they had experience running a government. You don't want to just throw that away, right?
And I think I just said the rebels were defeated, but I guess originally, the Meiji side were the rebels against the established government.
I thought that was kind of confusing too. When you're talking about rebels, it's like, well, in whose eyes are these the rebels?
Right. This is a whole theme of Japanese history where you got imperial power versus shogunate power and the back and forth that game plays.
The rebels are just whoever's fighting against whoever currently holds power.
Yeah.
Or more power.
Yeah.
It's confusing. But another really interesting thing I came across, Paul, is that if you look at Japanese art that depicts that battle, the Battle of Hakodate, so like there was a bunch of art that was made just in the next few years after that, but most of it shows traditional samurai riding around on horses with katanas and stuff, which is not at all how that battle was fought. Like they had guns and warships, and like it was a relatively modern battle, but the art still makes it look like, the samurai running around in the 12 and 1300s. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting because in the Warring States period, 300 years earlier, they were already well armed with firearms.
Yeah. Strange.
Yeah.
So the next thing I have is that Hakodate became an official city in 1922. And by 1933, its population had grown to over 200,000.
Wow, that's a big city for the time. Unfortunately, on March 21st, 1934, a serious fire broke out in Hakodate, later to be known as the Great Fire of Hakodate.
It's a reasonable name for it. It's actually considered one of the worst fires in Japanese history. Like it was a big deal.
Yeah, it destroyed around 2/3 of all buildings in the city.
Around 11,000 buildings. And this is like the city had been the biggest one in Hokkaido, but after 2/3 of it was wiped out, it was no longer the biggest city.
Yeah, they lost a lot of population. According to official numbers, over 2,000 people died, over 9,000 were injured, and 145,000 became homeless.
That's crazy.
What a tragedy.
Yeah. So after that, a lot of people moved away and just never came back. The city's population did eventually recover, though obviously it hasn't grown as much as it might have without the fire. And as I said, it's been declining for more than 40 years now, 45 years or so. It's been declining.
Yeah, I think it's at 239,000 now, which is not that much higher than where it was in 1930.
Hakodate was bombed by the Allies during World War II, but it actually mostly held up. That fire was way worse for the city than the war ended up being.
Yeah, it looked like it was bombed on a couple different days in 1945, but it wasn't continually, repeatedly bombed like a lot of cities were. Although there were 400 people that were killed when a ferry was attacked during World War II. It's quite the tragedy.
I don't know. I'm sorry. That is tragic. For some reason, my brain just imagined like a giant ferry, like from The Legend of Zelda, the one that upgrades your armor or whatever.
Sure. One of those words with multiple meanings.
Yeah.
There were also a bunch of prisoner of war camps in the area for whatever reason. Interestingly, in 1976, a defecting Soviet pilot landed his plane at the civilian Hakodate airport. It was quite the news story at the time.
Huh.
We were in such a stalemate with the USSR that defections were always big news, showing that West is better than Russia is. They want to come live in capitalism.
But Japan's the East.
Yeah, well, they were closely tied to the West.
Yeah. Huh. In 2004, Hakodate grew a bit when it absorbed a few nearby towns, which tends to happen in Japanese history.
Yep. The Hokkaido Shinkansen line opened in 2016, and Hakodate is currently the terminus of that line. But it will eventually go up to Sapporo.
It's pretty cool. You can get to Hokkaido really fast now. And I remember when that happened because when I went to Hokkaido with my wife in 2015, that Shinkansen line wasn't open, and we took an overnight train to get to Sapporo from Aomori.
Yeah. They built a tunnel under the sea between Honshu and Hokkaido. Quite the feat.
I mean, not for the Shinkansen, right? There were already trains going down there.
I'm not sure if they built a new one or used an old one, honestly.
Well, either way, there were already tunnels. That's where the overnight train went. It's not just like floating on top of the sea or anything.
Right.
Just want to make sure that wasn't misleading.
Sure. Well, that's all I got for history. You ready to go explore the city, Jason?
Let's do it, Paul Chan.
You just gonna keep that up?
I'm going to come up with a new nickname for each episode. I decided that's going to be my new shtick.
Okay. Maybe I should call you J-Kun. For this one. Because you always got to shorten the name to make it cuter, right? And then add a Kun or a Chan or something.
Is Paul short enough because it's just one syllable, or should I make it like P-Chan?
P-Chan. I like P-Chan.
That is kind of cute. That's a pretty kawaii nickname.
That name's cuter than I am.
Don't be so hard on yourself, Paul. You're adorable.
Aw, thanks. This is what I'm going for, is adorable.
Yeah, I can tell.
So we're going to get up really early and I think go to your favorite or most exciting place here.
Yeah, and I'm not even going to eat anything the day before because I need to make sure that I have plenty of room for all the stuff I want to eat at this first place, which is Hakodate's morning market.
It's literally just outside the JR Hakodate train station.
Yep, just start heading south from there. It's about 4 blocks long, and you can do a bunch of cool stuff and eat all sorts of delicious food.
Hakodate, like most of Hokkaido, is known for their incredibly great fresh seafood.
Yep.
I know you're going to be trying to get some uni. Anything else up on your list there?
Yeah, I want to eat some squid too.
Ah, yeah.
So I saw that one novel experience that you can have there is you can actually fish for your own squid, Paul. Did you read about this?
I did.
So inside the market building, there's this pool of squid, and you get a fishing rod so you can catch one for yourself, and then they slice it into sashimi for you. But man, I'm going to be walking up and down that street and like eating any street food that I see. Maybe that's where I'll start, because I don't want to fill myself up too fast. I'll just get like little snacky kind of things to start out with.
Yeah, there's a bunch of restaurants to choose from.
Restaurants and food stalls. You can also get seasonal fruit there, Paul. You might want to grab some of that.
Oh, I'm sure in February in Hakodate, I'm going to be loaded with local fruit options.
What about those winter berries?
Is that a real thing?
Isn't that in Stardew Valley?
Yeah.
Don't they have a winter berry?
They do.
I don't know. I don't know if we're going to see any fruit, but Paul, do you know the thing that I'm most excited about?
What?
Oh, by the way, Hakodate's city fish is the squid. Did you hear that? And there's this viral video. Have you seen the dancing squid? You ever come across that one?
I've seen people do the squid dance. I didn't know there was a dancing
squid dance.
Oh, you don't know this? We got to learn the squid dance before we go. If we do the squid dance in Hakodate, everyone's going to be like, oh, squid dance.
No way.
Yeah.
I only know the salmon dance.
Okay.
Can you demonstrate the squid dance for me?
I haven't learned it yet.
Oh.
I haven't learned it yet. It's you do like a lot of wiggly stuff.
I would imagine. So.
Yeah, it's wiggly.
Is this a thing that they do at local festivals or something?
Yeah. It's part of one of the local festivals.
Oh, wait, I did hear about that. Okay, that's a little bit further down in my notes. Yeah. Okay, well, the video that I'm talking about, this viral video, there's a video of a squid. It's on a plate, and then they pour soy sauce on its tentacles, and it just starts flailing around. Like, it looks like it's alive. Does that ring a bell at all?
No.
Man, can I Google it for you?
I mean, no.
Is that bad podcasting? Oh, you don't want to watch that.
Well, I feel like you'd be like, oh, delicious, and I'm going to look at it like it's a snuff film or something.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, well, close your ears for a minute so I can describe it. I guess I already described it, didn't I?
Yeah.
I mean, basically, it just starts flailing its tentacles around, but it is dead. It is actually dead. It's just that the salt in the soy sauce reactivates its muscles, and it starts moving around. So there's a famous restaurant in Hakodate. That's where that video was taken. It's called Ikate Tabiji. And I'm super excited to eat a squid that's flailing around. Sorry if that's morbid or, I don't know, what's the word for that, Paul?
That was a pretty good word.
So that squid dance you were talking about, Ika Odori is what that's called, and they perform that at the Hakodate Port Festival every August.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know. I feel like with the context of the squid that you eat while it's still moving, that makes the dance feel morbid to me. It's like you're mocking this corpse that you're making flail around. You know what I mean?
I do, but I'm just imagining the dance is like the happy squid in the sea floating around left and right.
The impression, I guess that's probably what it is. For some reason, my head was thinking like the dance is based on the dead squid that they're pouring the soy sauce in and making it flop around.
You're just very food obsessed, so that's where your mind
I'm
goes.
Focused, yeah.
Speaking of restaurants, did you hear about the chain called the Lucky Pierrot or Lucky Pirate?
Oh, man.
I'm not sure how to say that.
I was actually holding my breath to see how you were going to pronounce that word, but you did great.
Okay.
Lucky Pierrot. It's a French word, but yes, I did hear about that, and I am excited to try that out too. Apparently, it's a really famous local chain.
Yeah, won the prize of best local burger chain in Japan. And it's only in Hakodate. There's a bunch of them, but they're only in Hakodate.
Yeah. And they have a Pierrot is a clown.
Okay, I thought it sounded clowny.
Yeah, the logo is a clown. That's Pierrot. And I've seen that referenced in other places too. I feel like in Japan, that's just like all the clowns are named Pierrot. That's like
that's the clown name.
Yeah, that exactly. It's like maybe Bozo or something.
That's what came to mind for me too, Bozo.
But I'm not sure now if Bozo is an actual specific clown or if that's just a generic clown name.
There was a popular Bozo. It used to have like a TV show when we were kids. The number one most popular burger at Lucky Pierrot is their Chinese chicken burger.
What?
They have a bunch of interesting burgers.
Chinese chicken.
I looked up their menu online, and the owner wrote up that his mom used to cook Chinese chicken for guests whenever they came over to the house. So he combined that into a Western-style burger.
Interesting.
And it became super popular.
Man, I really am nervous that we're not going to have enough time in Hakodate for me to eat all the things I want to eat.
Yeah, you're not going to have enough stomach space.
I know. Maybe I should have flown there a day before you just get a head start on all the food.
Yeah, I hate to say I told you so. I guess I recommended you so.
Too late. We already got our plane ticket. I just didn't want to leave you all alone on the plane, you know? I knew I had to hold your hand and sit next to you.
You had no problem going to Japan one day before me and letting me fly for 16 hours by myself. But we got an hour and a half flight the next day, and you're like, oh, I couldn't let you be alone, bro.
I got to make it up to you after the 12 and a half hours.
Well, I appreciate it.
We should mention, too, that Hakodate is a pretty walkable city. And, you know, we got our section at the end where we'll talk about how to get to and around the city. But, like, most of the stuff is in pretty close proximity there on that little peninsula on the sandbar.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
But you do have to take, well, you don't have to, but probably the best way to get to that Goryokaku, the star-shaped fort thing, is you want to take a tram. There's this little tram that goes through the city that can help you get around a bit. So from Hakodate Station, let's take the tram. It's going to take about 20 minutes to go northeast on that, and then we can just walk a few minutes from that station to Goryokaku, the star-shaped fort where the Battle of Hakodate was fought.
It was built not long before the Boshin War actually happened to defend against Western powers, actually, but ended up being used in a civil war. Somewhat ironic. I think I used ironic right there, maybe.
I think so. I think you're good.
Hey, all right. Learning this English thing finally.
You'll figure it out someday.
But, I mean, eventually it lost its military importance. And in the 1910s, it was turned into a public park. And thousands of cherry trees were planted there.
Dude.
And now it's one of the best places to go cherry blossom viewing.
Those pictures in spring during cherry blossom season, incredible.
One cool thing, too, is that it's so far north that I think they're blooming a little bit later. So if you're kind of a little bit later in the spring and you're still trying to catch the cherry blossoms, you can come here and just get an outstanding view.
Nice. And at the southwest end of the grounds is Goryokaku Tower, which has an observation deck, so you can like look down at the fort from above. You're really going to see that star shape. And of course, if you're there in sakura season, you're going to see all those cherry blossom trees all together at once, and it's going to blow your mind.
Yes. That view is incredible. Also, during the winter illumination,
Oh,
the
that'd be
view
cool.
from the tower is really cool.
Are we going to get to see that, you think?
Yes.
Oh, dude. So we have to go there during the day and after dark, I guess, huh?
Yeah, it's tight because the tower still closes at 6 p.m.
Okay,
But
but the
the
sun
l-
is going to go down a little bit before
like by
that.
5 or something.
Okay, so we'll have to schedule that for, we got to get there right before sunset, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
One night the
Wait.
mountain and one night the fort.
Oh, man, we're going to have to get really lucky with the clouds and stuff on the mountain, I think.
We'll have to choose the better day weather-wise for the mountain.
Yeah, we can play it by ear.
But from the tower, you can actually turn around and see the city and the bay and more than just the fort.
Yeah, you can even see Mount Hakodate from there. Also on the same floor as that observatory is the Goryokaku Historic Corridor, where you can learn more about its history. Another little note saw is that nearby is this famous confectionery shop called Rokate. Very highly rated from what I saw. So we might need to stop there.
Oh, okay. All right, should we head back on the tram and head on down to the port area?
Yeah, we're going to go back down past Hakodate Station now to Jujigai Station on that tram line. So now we're in the Bay Area. And just north of that Jujigai Station, right along the edge of the bay, is the Kanemori Red Brick Warehouse, which I kept seeing it called that, the Kanemori Red Brick Warehouse, but it's actually a row of a bunch of old brick warehouses, which have since been converted into a shopping complex.
Yeah. All the things you'd expect: fashion, souvenirs, sweet shops, lots of restaurants, and a chapel for weddings, apparently.
Okay, didn't see that.
There's sightseeing cruises in the bay during the warmer months, too.
Nice. Yeah, it looks like that area just has a really nice retro kind of feel to it. Don't they have like kind of old style street lamps outside those warehouses and like...
Yeah, it's got that old-timey look. The warehouses look beautiful. Those red bricks, they're really well maintained. They look really nice.
Definitely. They have a big winter event there too called the Hakodate Christmas Fantasy. I think we're going to be a little too late for that.
Yeah, that one we're going to miss.
Yeah. Looks cool though. There's also another Lucky Pierrot nearby.
Okay. Yeah, you got them all marked.
Yeah.
So, just a little bit south of there, up in the hills towards Mount Hakodate, is the Motomachi area.
I'd call it a little southwest.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. And this area is spread out a little bit, but these are the neighborhoods that the foreign traders used to live in.
Yeah, it's basically between the bay and Mount Hakodate, kind of that whole neighborhood.
So I think we mentioned the history. There were Russians, Chinese, and all sorts of Westerners in the area. So there's still some foreign-looking buildings that remain today.
Yeah, they're supposed to be really well preserved.
A Russian Orthodox church that looks kind of cool. There's an old British consulate that you can still enter.
There's a Chinese memorial hall.
There's a couple old government buildings. So you can kind of just walk around and explore the area and find all these pop from old building to old building. And it's supposed to be a really nice, quiet place. It's kind of like hilly streets with cobblestone paths, just like a really nice area to walk around in, it seems.
You know, this and the red brick warehouses kind of reminds me of Kobe, right?
Yes, absolutely. But Kobe was another one of the 5 ports.
That makes a lot of sense. They have a lot of similarities there.
Aren't there brick warehouses in Yokohama, too?
Maybe. In Motomachi, I also saw that it's a good place to try Hokkaido's famous soft serve ice cream. We didn't mention that, but Hokkaido is also well known for its dairy products, cheese and cream and milk and stuff. Like even in the rest of Japan, if you look around at stores, even just like convenience stores, you'll see stuff advertised as like, oh, this is made with Hokkaido cream, things like that.
Right. It's like Georgia peaches.
Yeah.
Or Idaho potatoes.
So with squid being the official fish of Hakodate, You can get squid ink flavored ice cream there, which I'm going to add to my list of weird flavored ice creams.
Oh, you haven't done that one yet?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I've
You done squid egg something, right?
I had squid ink noodles in Okinawa. I had 2 other types of black ice cream. The black sesame ice cream, which is kind of more of a gray or light black. Is light black a thing? Or in Hakone last trip, I had that charcoal
that's
ice cream that was super black.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to try the squid ink one. I don't suspect that the ink is going to add much of a flavor, but it's still just a novel thing that I always try to look for that stuff that's just kind of unusual, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
There are a lot of other shops and cafes and restaurants in the area too. It just seems like a nice place to wander around and explore.
Yep. Also around that area is the Hakodate City Museum of Northern Peoples, and they exhibit history and culture about the native northern peoples of Japan.
Yep.
The Ainu, basically.
You can try their traditional paper cutting. You can check out their traditional musical instruments and crafts. I think that sounds really cool.
It does.
I also thought that their traditional clothes were really interesting to look at. Did you see pictures of those?
I didn't, no. We get to dress up?
I don't know if we get to wear anything, but they definitely have a bunch of displays of their
showing
stuff.
off, yeah.
And it's like a very different style. Like you can tell that it's not Japanese, you know?
Yeah.
I felt like the designs on them, it reminded me almost of like those tribal tattoos with like the swirly type stuff, but it's like swirly but jagged, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Just really cool patterns.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
I've heard that there's really good English signage.
Good.
And that there's some references in in the descriptions to the Golden Kamui anime.
The what?
Golden Kamui. I don't know if you've seen that anime.
I haven't. Have you?
I watched most of the first season. It's about a soldier, I think during the Russian War of like around 1908, that ends up deserting and ends up in Hokkaido and meets a young Ainu girl, and they go on all sorts of adventures together.
Interesting. This is totally unrelated to this topic, but can we go on a quick little tangent and talk about anime for a second?
Yeah, I've actually got some anime related stuff for you too. So.
Okay. I messaged you about that Okinawa one. Did you look at that?
I did. I watched 2 episodes, and I didn't get into it.
Really? I thought the animation was pretty good, and what I really like about it, especially compared to that Hokkaido one that we were talking about, is that this one really focuses on Okinawan culture, and it like just tells you a lot of little details.
It does, which is really cool. I might have to give it another try. I might not have just been in the right mood for it, because what I think I didn't like is that it was kind of like, it felt like a 4-panel comic, where it's just like there's a joke, and then there's another joke, and then there's another joke, and there's not really like a flowing storyline.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. The story doesn't really go anywhere, but
I loved Azumanga Daioh,
yeah,
which was the same thing, so I don't know why I didn't get into this one.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just old and crotchety now.
To be honest, I've kind of had to push myself to keep watching that too. Like for some reason, I like everything about it if you look at it, but it's like, I know what I mean, like it just doesn't grab you quite as much. I kind of get that.
Maybe I'm at that point in my life where I should just read a book about Okinawan culture and I might enjoy that more.
Yeah, maybe. The other thing I wanted to bring up is that Yi and I started watching Jujutsu Kaisen recently. And, you know, I'd heard so much about it. Everybody's talking about how great it is. And
are you a Jujubee now?
It is really good. I don't know why I'm always like avoiding the most popular anime. It's like it's too mainstream for me or whatever, you know? But then when I watch that kind of stuff, I always end up liking it too. I mean, nobody even ever told me what Jujutsu Kaisen was even about. And then I watched the first episode and I'm like, oh, this is totally the kind of thing I would be into. Like,
okay.
Anyway.
I might have to give it a try.
Oh, you haven't watched any of it?
I have not.
Oh, it's good, man. It's
Okay.
pretty good. I will say, whatever, this tangent's getting long enough. But what did you have to talk about anime-wise?
Oh, I was going to bring up Yuru Camp.
Oh, yeah.
Because I never really got into it. You know, it's a little slow-paced or whatever. But last night, I wasn't quite ready for bed, but it was like bedtime. I flipped on the first episode of Yuru Camp, laid down in my bed.
The very first season or what?
Yep. And it was the most like relaxing thing ever.
Yeah.
And I watched one episode, I turned it off, and I slept like a baby.
Nice.
It's like my new ASMR. I think I just need, it's not like a come home from work and binge 5 episodes anime, but when I'm like really chill, like I feel like
Totally.
I might work my way through it now.
Yeah, it's the kind of show that works best when you're all cuddled up in a blanket.
Yep.
Yep.
And now I kind of want to go camping again.
Yeah, it'll do that to you for sure.
Right. Koryuji next.
Sure. That one's down there by the mountain, right?
Yep. It is the oldest Buddhist temple in the region, dating to 1633.
It was moved to its current location in 1879 after it was damaged in that Boshin War that we mentioned in the history section.
Yep.
The main building that's there now was built in 1900.
Which is still seems super old to me.
Yeah, that's pretty old.
It's known for its impressive wood carving decorations. Also saw some cool statues that I would guess are bronze, but I'm not sure. They look metal. Impressive and well-decorated main gate and main hall. Also, like zodiac carvings, I think I heard were inside the main hall.
Oh, is that? I saw that the carvings of lions and dragons were very impressive.
Yeah, there's lots of
Zodiac
lion
ones.
carvings, apparently. There's a nice garden there as well.
I also thought it was interesting. This temple was used as a hospital for wounded rebel soldiers during that Battle of Hakodate.
Okay. Are we ready for the mountain now?
I think we're there.
It's almost dusk.
Yeah, we timed it perfectly. Sun's just about to go down. So this is out on that peninsula, as we mentioned. It's 334 meters tall, just about 1,100 feet, and it sticks way out there into the strait.
Yeah.
It's looking out. It's poking out into Tsugaru Strait, right?
Yeah.
Which is what separates Hokkaido from Honshu. And I don't know. You just got to look at the pictures, unless you want to surprise yourself. Maybe you just go there and don't look at the pictures, and you'll be extra impressed. But like, the peninsula is like, it gets really skinny when you're looking back at the city from the top of this mountain. So it's like you see just the empty void of the unlit sea around you, the strait. And then you see all the city lights and stuff sparkling in front of you. It looks pretty awesome.
And the view in winter should be nice. There should be snow cover on all the roofs of the buildings. It should look really cool.
Oh, I can't wait.
We might see the fort way off in the distance lit up too.
I guess you would have to be able to see it if you can see the mountain from the fort.
Yeah, if it's lit up, you could probably see it.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll be able to pick it out.
But I think the sun's going to go down around 5 o'clock that time of year. So if we get to the top of the mountain by like 4:30 or so, we should get a nice view with light, and then wait and get the lit up nighttime view as well.
Man, I'm
should
really
be amazing.
I'm curious how busy these places are going to be, because
It'll be less busy in the winter, for sure.
Well, that's another thing I'm excited about on this trip. Like we're spending this whole trip, like 2/3 of it in Hokkaido and then 1/3 of it around the Sendai area in Tohoku. And I mean, neither of those are very visited places by foreign tourists. So I'm really curious to see how busy it's going to be. Maybe we'll see a lot of domestic tourists, or maybe if we're really lucky, maybe there will be barely any other people around.
Everyone will be in Sapporo.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I think we're going to get in Hakodate around the day or a day before the festival starts in Sapporo.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. At the top of the mountain, there's also a cafe, a restaurant, and a souvenir shop. I'm definitely going to get a souvenir up there.
Oh, yeah.
Takes about an hour if you want to hike up the mountain, but I think most people just take the ropeway. Or there's even a bus that goes directly to the summit from Hakodate Station. Although that's seasonal, it only runs between late April to mid-November, it looked like.
Yeah. The ropeway seems great. Kind of nestles right into the Motomachi area, so it's right there.
It's probably what we should do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'll feel like hiking in the snow up a mountain.
We might not have time either.
Yeah, true. Probably takes more than an hour if there's a bunch of snow.
Yeah, right. They'll slow you down.
So that's pretty much everything that's kind of clustered together around that sandbar area. But if you want to head east a ways, you can get to Yunokawa Onsen. This is at the end of that local tram line we were talking about. You can take that about 30 minutes east from Hakodate Station, and then you can rest your weary bones in some hot spring water. It'll be great.
Yeah. There's free foot baths near the station, which is pretty cool. And there's a bunch of ryokan in the area where you can rent out open air baths that face the strait. So you can just get a really nice view sitting in the hot spring in the cold winter night. Oh, man, that sounds
really
nice. Yeah.
We haven't picked out a hotel for Hakodate yet, right?
No, we haven't.
We should try to stay in as many places with onsen as possible.
I agree. I agree.
It's going to be cold, and that's going to feel so good at night. Oh,
yeah.
Man. If you're staying near this area at Yunokawa Onsen, you might also be interested in the Hakodate Tropical Botanical Garden. See that, Paul?
I did.
You can see a bunch of pretty plants, of course. It's a botanical garden. But, Paul, you can also see monkeys.
Yes.
Chilling in hot springs.
Yep. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you could see monkeys in hot springs here.
Yeah. But, if you're imagining that really famous other place in Nagano Prefecture, right, where you can see the monkeys hanging out in the springs and they're like just out in the open and there's a bunch of snow and it's all pretty and
those are like wild
looking
monkeys.
Yeah, this one, compared to that, this place seemed a little depressing, I gotta say.
It's like a concrete pit that they like painted trees onto that these monkeys live in. It doesn't look great.
Yeah. It's not like a natural-looking hot spring. It's a depressing-looking hot spring.
It's like a hot tub. They got a couple hot tubs out there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm sure the monkeys love the hot tubs in the winter. But otherwise, it looks like a pretty poor habitat for them.
They're also in captivity. It's like, okay, I guess it's nice that I get some hot water to hang in while I'm in captivity.
Yeah. The greenhouse looked cool, though. All the tropical plants. They got, like, pineapple and banana trees and stuff. Like, that's cool.
It's cool.
Yeah, I'd go check that out. Well, if you want to get outside of the city, about 20 kilometers north is Onuma Park, which is designated as a quasi-national park. I always thought that was a funny thing. They have national parks and they have quasi-national parks. Like, well, is it a national park or is it not a national park? What does quasi mean?
I was trying to remember what other episode that came up in, because I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
Did you look up what it means?
No.
I have an answer for you.
Okay.
Apparently that just means it's managed by the prefectural government instead of the national government.
So it's not a national park, it's a state park.
I don't know why they don't call it a prefectural park instead of a quasi-national park. But...
Okay. All right. Well, good to know. Thank you. I'll forget that and ask again next time.
All right. Sounds good. Did you say how long it takes to get here?
I said 20 kilometers. I didn't say how long.
Okay. It takes about 30 minutes by train north from Hakodate Station. But we're calling it a day trip because it's like so far from the other stuff in the city. And because there's so much to do here in this quasi-national park that you'll probably want to spend a good chunk of a day here.
Yeah, it could be a good half-day trip or a full-day trip if you do the activities.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing is hiking. There's 2 lakes, large lake and small lake. It's apparently what they're called, Onuma and Konuma.
Yep.
And there's walking paths and bridges that kind of string together a row of islands kind of between these 2 lakes, and it's really beautiful.
The main feature is an active volcano, Mount Komagatake, which rises above the north edge of Lake Onuma. Even beyond the hiking, there's also cycling, canoeing, horseback riding. You can take a cruise in the lake.
There's a camping site there.
Yeah, if you're there in winter, you can do all the winter stuff. You can go ice fishing, you can ride snowmobiles, you can go snowshoeing, all that real Hokkaido stuff that showed up in that Hokkaido anime we were talking about, right, Paul?
Snowmobiles might be fun.
Do you know, I was talking to a coworker the other day, and I found out that, so she's from, or I don't think originally from, but she spent a lot of time living in Alaska. Up there, they don't call snowmobiles. Did you know that, Paul?
Snow machines.
You knew that?
Yeah.
Why do you know that?
Some gold digging show or some northern survival show that my roommates used to watch.
I thought that was so bizarre.
Yeah, it took me a minute to get used to.
Snow machine. It's just so vague.
I know.
There's so many things that could
like
be a snow machine.
I've thought about this, and I think snowmobile is better because mobile means you're going. Right? It makes snow machine, well, that could be a snow blower, a snow plow, anything, right?
I'm totally with you, Paul. We need to go tell those Alaskans that they need to figure their stuff out, you know?
I had a list of festivals here, but I think they've almost all come up already.
You can list them off again if you want.
The Hakodate Christmas Fantasy, which is most of December in the Bay Area by the red brick warehouses.
Do you have any other details about what happens there?
There's a giant Christmas tree, and the red brick warehouses are decorated with beautiful lights. And
Cool.
I think they maybe have some like stands selling food and stuff. Then the Illuminations that go from December 1st through late February.
The Illuminati-ins?
Not quite.
That's how it's spelled, isn't it? Illuminati-ins?
Illuminati. Yeah. Oh.
They got their hands in everything, man.
Like we said, areas in Motomachi are lit up. The fort is lit up every evening. So that seems really cool. We will catch that. And then we were talking about the Squid Dance. And that is the Hakodate Port Festival every year in early August. And that one looks really fun. The videos and pictures I saw, just hundreds of people in the street just dancing and wiggling and having a good time. It's got all the other festival stuffs, the floats, the bikoshi, the food, all that good stuff.
I think we're going to need to visit Hakodate again on our summer Hokkaido trip. Do
Absolutely.
it during that festival.
Yes. Oh, that'd be great.
Oh, wait, but don't the flowers, they bloom earlier in the year, don't they?
This festival is August 1st to 5th.
But the Furano, the flower fields, don't
they
those...
say July. So maybe if we had a Hakodate on the way back or something, we might be able to make that work.
Okay.
And then the other one is that I guess we didn't mention yet is the Hakodate Goryokaku. I almost got through the episode without butchering that word. Hakodate Goryokaku Festival.
Okay.
It's held every year on May 20th to commemorate the warriors that lost their lives in the battle in the Boshin War. They do cosplay. They dress up in the Imperial and the Shogun uniforms, and they do sword fighting displays. And
is it like inside the fort?
It's around the fort area.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. There's floats. There's a military band that plays. It's something different.
Yeah. I'm just going to throw out there, if you want to visit a festival, well, first you should go listen to our episode that we did about festivals or Matsuri. But, if you're going to Japan at any time of year, Google what festivals are going to be nearby because they happen all over the place. At all times of year, you'll probably be able to find one, and they can be really fun. It's just a piece of the culture that you kind of have to seek out if you want to experience it. And there's a lot of fun stuff connected to it. And Paul, I think on this trip, this will be your first festival that you're attending, right?
It is.
Or, a bunch of festivals. We're going to so many of them.
Yeah. my first couple trips, I didn't really think about it. And then, I get so into planning the trip that eventually I get to thinking, are there any Matsuri nearby? But my itinerary is already so packed that I'm like, well, I don't want to drop anything to go to this festival.
Sure.
So thinking about it ahead of time, or actually kind of planning our trip around going to these festivals is a really different thing for me, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah. I wonder if we're going to be all festivaled out by the end, if we're going to be like, okay, that's enough festivals.
We're going to be looking at our 100th snow sculpture. We'll be experts. The carving's a little loose on this one.
I'm also really excited about the festival food.
I bet you are.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm going to have so much good food this trip.
A piping hot sweet potato when it's below freezing out.
Yeah.
Sitting there warming your hands, eating that on the side of the street.
Oh, man.
Oh,
man. It's crazy. I've been to Japan so many times at this point, but every time when I think about the upcoming trip, it's it feels too good to be true. It's surreal how much fun I'm anticipating that we will have.
I was at my brother's place the other day, and his dog was so excited when we got home, And I was just like, oh, man, I wish I ever got half that excited about anything in my life. And then I was thinking the other day, I was like, the only thing I'm really getting excited for right now is Japan.
Yeah.
The only thing that makes me go yeah, this is coming up. All right. There's plenty of things I like and I enjoy, but nothing gets me quite going like a trip to Japan these days.
And that's why we have a podcast about it.
Right. Should we talk about transportation?
Yes, we should.
Maybe the easiest way to get there is a direct flight from Tokyo, if that's where you're coming from.
Yep. We mentioned before that they have the Shinkansen line going up to Hakodate now. That's one way to get there from Tokyo. But yeah, for this trip, we just booked some flights straight to the Hakodate airport because it's just going to be faster and I think even cheaper too, right? By quite a bit.
Yeah. It's only an 80-minute plane ride, and that's a 20-minute bus ride from the airport to central Hakodate. And the Shinkansen, it's about 4 hours, but that doesn't end up in central Hakodate either. You got to take another 20-minute train south to get to central Hakodate. So that ends up being a 4.5 hour, 5 hour kind of overall trip.
And we got our tickets to fly from Tokyo to Hakodate for only $85 US.
Yeah,
that's
that was
pretty good.
One way, but that's still pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a 12-hour drive from Tokyo.
Okay, I wouldn't recommend that.
Unless you want to stop it on the way.
Unless you want
Some
to just
people like road trips.
Yeah, I mean, you could just make your whole trip a road trip and drive around Japan. That could be cool.
Yeah. So once you're in the city, there are 2 tram lines that run parallel for a long time, but do split off kind of in front of the mountain.
Yeah, like the southwest end, there is like a little fishtail sort of thing. But the rest of it, it's all the same line that goes up to like the Goryokaku or not the Goryokaku, just Goryokaku. And then it goes over east to that onsen area.
Yeah.
There's a JR train line as well that goes kind of along the western edge of the city. Probably not going to be that useful to you as a tourist. The tram, I feel like, goes more like closer to the touristy areas.
Yes. There's also bus routes in the city, some of which are quite useful. IC cards work on the trams and buses, which is always nice.
Yeah.
And then they do have some passes available for tourists. This one took me a second to wrap my head around because there's a 1-day tram pass for 600 yen, and then there's a 24-hour tram pass for 900 yen. I was like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
And then I realized the 1-day pass is from midnight to midnight on whichever day you pick. The 24-hour one you activate digitally on your phone, and it starts at that exact moment.
Okay.
And then runs 24 hours from there.
Interesting.
So I guess that's why you pay more. And then there's also 1 or 2-day tram and bus passes that you can get.
Cool. I'm thinking we're probably going to be depending on our feet for a lot of it, right? Like I with such a small city, I don't really mind walking around to all these places because then you get a better sense of the city and it's fun to explore and just see where things take you.
And the stuff's so close together that I don't think like taking even one tram stop would really like save us time or steps.
Yeah. I'm usually just too impatient to even wait for a train or a tram. I'll just start walking.
Yep.
Well, I think that's it for Hakodate. It's not a huge city, but I think it's going to be really fun. And of course, we're going to report back once we've spent some time there. We'll have our trip recaps when we get back.
Yep.
Well, before we go, we should thank our Shogun level patrons: Kevin Harris, Michael Morris, Brady K, Jack, Pamela Arola, Kevin Phillips, Kelly Ardong, and Georgette and Caitlin Seymour. Thank you all so much. We also, Paul, have 2 Emperor level patrons now. One of them is John from Tucson, and the other would prefer to remain anonymous. So thank you, John, and our mystery patron.
Yeah. Thank you, as always, to all our patrons. Much appreciated.
Very much. If you would also like to support the podcast, but maybe you're not up for a monthly recurring kind of thing, you can also submit a one-time donation on the Support Us page of our website. There's a button. You can just send us some help via PayPal. Our website is sightseeingjapanpodcast.com. And if you're planning a trip to Japan, you can also find a bunch of useful stuff there. We tried to put together some useful information to make things easy for you. So, Anything else, Paul? Any final words?
Nope.
Well, what are we talking about next time? You realize our next episode is a milestone episode.
I do.
150.
Yeah, I know, man. Episode 150 will be a brief history of Japan.
We'll see how brief it ends up being.
We're just going to cover the entire history of Japan in one episode.
Yeah. It'll be a challenge, but, we've come at the history from so many different angles, We've talked about the history of specific cities or come at it from all the different topics that we've done, but we've heard from people that it would be nice to just be able to tie it all together into one timeline. So we're going to try to do kind of a very high-level history. I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah. I mean, doing the research for it, I don't know if we're going to talk about anything that hasn't come up at some point in some form, or very little at least, but trying to tie the like narrative flow together to give context to all the different things you can see in Japan.
Maybe you've heard about all these different periods that we're always talking about. The Edo period, the Meiji period, all that stuff, the Heian period. We're going to list them all out chronologically and kind of talk about the main things that happened there. So,
Yep.
Should be good. Well, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.